Stand by. The program will begin soon. I don't know why I'm talking about this. During World War II, we sent 90 million pounds of spam just to the Russians alone. I mean, we sent it all over the world. Our troops, especially in the Pacific Theater, ate it. That was basically what they ate all the time. 90 million pounds to the Russians. Apparently in like the 50s, Nikita Khrushchev said, you know, if they hadn't sent us all this spam, they might not have been able to feed their troops during World War II. So a little weird canned kind of ham pork product, canned meat, may have won World War II. And the Fed is trending on X. And I wasn't sure why, and I'm still not 100% sure why, although part of it is because of this building that they're renovating. They're supposed to be renovating at one of the buildings at the Fed, right? And the other day, Donald Trump came out there with Jerome Powell, and they're talking about how the renovation of the building was kind of a little bit over budget, okay? First of all, the numbers on this are crazy. They wanted $2.something billion to renovate a building at the Fed. $2.1 billion. Well, this is $2.5 billion. But they're over budget by over $1 billion for one building. They're over budget over $1 billion for one building. $1 billion friggin' dollars for one building. This isn't even for building a new building. It's for renovating a building. What the actual F are they doing? If after a night of filling your rectum with vodka from a turkey baster, the cops find you changing a flat in the cereal aisle of a Piggly Wiggly and ask how much you've had to drink, and you say nothing, are you lying? Well, no. Now, if they had been asking, have you been injecting? You'd have to say yes, but they said, have you been drinking? Well, no, absolutely. Yeah, Lord Stanhope, absolutely not. In fact, you all can try to answer these questions. Stand by. The program will begin soon. A WNBA game got stopped in the middle of the game because one of the players lost their wig while they're playing, and they had to run off. And then some fan made fun of the player, and they had to run. And they kicked the fan out for making fun of a player losing the weave. Not a weave, it was a wig. Losing their wig. They had to have a timeout for the wig, a wig emergency. Which I'm like, why the F are you wearing a wig while you're playing basketball? But then yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, a game had to be stopped briefly because someone threw a big old green dildo on the floor. Someone threw a dildo out on the floor, out of the court. They had to stop the game. I don't know if they caught the person who sent the dildo, but the green dildo was on the court, and a large number of the players had no idea what to do with something of that shape, but that's okay. It happened, and then someone made this t-shirt or this meme, pay us what you owe us, which has a dildo on it. So that was fun. Hey, you know what the really good interrupt violence through community-based bystander training? Yeah, if the bystanders beat the fuck out of someone who's attacking somebody else, that would be great bystander training. They could send them to the MMA gym, you know, put them in an arm bar, smack them in the face a few times. Stop doing that bullshit. That would be the best community-based bystander training, but I don't think that's what it means. Anyway. And then the other one, they'll go back all the way to Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof's the other one, which, does anyone, okay, let me ask you something. A lot of you are right-leaning on the right. Is there anybody in this that anyone you know of? Is there anyone that you know of on the right who supports or supported Dylan Roof? Because I know everyone I can think of who's like, Dylan Roof, fuck that guy. He went out and murdered people in a church. Fuck that guy. But the left is like, oh, he was a right-wing extremist. Nah, he's a fucking asshole. Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck Dylan Roof. Nobody gives a shit about Dylan Roof. Nobody claims him. Nobody wants him. He's an asshole. Okay? He's a little punk bitch asshole who killed a bunch of people in the church. Stand by. The program will begin soon. Reverend Robin Bartlett of First Church of Sterling, Massachusetts, uses John 1:14 of the Bible to justify why she brings her 11-year-old son to drag shows. This is what we're getting in the Rainbow Church. The Rainbow Church aren't exactly hiding. That's true. The Word became flesh and lived among us, and my body, your body, their bodies are home for the living God. That is why I take my 11-year-old boy to drag shows in the summer with my friend and fellow church leaders, Kate, and her 11-year-old boy. Especially if you're a man, bodies can be celebrated and played with. That's her message. What the fuck? California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove her from school, him or her, enroll her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment, including mental health services and drugs, without the parent's notice and knowledge or consent. Can you see where that might be a problem? This is not fear-mongering. I'm not being hyperbolic, she warned. These are unintended consequences, and it is terrifying. They are unconscionable or unavoidable. So that's one really bad California law that they're coming with. I can't believe. I'm just dumbfounded that they're doing it. Now this is interesting. That new mayor candidate, the leading Democratic mayor candidate for New York City mayor, Damme, wants cops to stop responding to attacks on Jews. And by the way, Jews in the New York City are victims of the majority of hate crimes. Not a plurality, but the majority of hate crimes against people in New York are against Jewish people. And you know, especially the religious hate crimes. Anyway, 345 hate crimes in New York City last year, more than all other minority groups combined, according to the New York Police Department data. Anti-Jewish crimes accounted for 54% of the 641 total hate crimes reported to police in the city in 2024. Since the beginning of the year, 60% of the 123 recorded hate crimes have targeted Jews, according to the New York Police Department. Well, Zohran Mamdani, the radical Islamist and leftist terrorist supporter, has proposed that New York Police Department not respond to hate crimes, instead that they be handled by social workers. Either this shifts resources away from responding to attacks on Jews and moves away from having law enforcement deal with those attacks, and instead has his political leftist allies deal with them by burying them. Right? Show. If I put something on the screen, or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to, I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
Well, holy Moses, I almost forgot to turn my mic on. Hello! Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel, where I'm not going to talk about Charlie today. I'm not Charlie'd out, but there's a lot of stuff. I have a lot of links to some articles about the whole Charlie Kirk thing, and I'm talking about it. I said I wasn't going to, but the idea that they have 60,000 requests for new Turning Point USA chapters, when some people said, "Oh, this is the end of Turning Point USA. No one needs to talk about Charlie Kirk. He's nothing of significance," and now everyone wants to be like him. And I see a lot of people out there doing videos like him. So that's going to be it. That's all I'm going to talk about Charlie, because there's other stuff to talk about. Like, for example, this lady is back. She finally did an interview. I think it's their first one since she lost so unceremoniously in the election. And, well, as usual, she's got some salad to make. Word salad. But there's clips of people that from both sides of the aisle are putting up about her, and so we'll look at a couple of those, and then we'll go through a bunch of other news and whatnot, just like we do every day. It's a plethora of what's happening right now, the trending topics on the internet and all that stuff. But first, I do have to say hi, and maybe I'm going to fix this stupid camera again because it won't stay fixed, pissing me off. Where is it? That. Okay, close that. There's that. Backlight. Turn the backlight on. Turn the brightness up. And that should do the trick. All right. I don't know why it bugs me so much, but it does. So just bear with me. We'll do this every day. Anyway, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. First, the chat, of course. Life is normal today. Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. Yeah, baby. Did you hear the bell? Here. There, you get another bell. Good morning, sir. Also, good morning to Resolute Germ. Quick on the draw, but not that quick. Caps lock. Why you got the caps lock on? Share the stream, by the way. Click that little link on the top of the chat and say, "Let's go!" and put a GIF or a meme or just write your own introduction to the show. That'd be great. Also, good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, and Green Badger Outdoors in the house, Blue Eyed Scream, Rockhopper. Up early. What's up? G'day, sir. Renee Mayette is here. Pope Tyrannius. Well, here. Pope Tyrannius III, the Blessed Lich. Message retracted. So I guess that's the inspirational words of the day from the Pope. Unless there's, it's down here farther. I'll read it in a second. Also, good morning, Raymond Lewis. Welcome back. Nice to have you back. Desert Tramp, what's up? Good morning. There's the best. Okay, let's try it again. Pope Tyrannius III, the Blessed Lich with the inspirational words of the day. Blessings of the Holy Ghost. Remember that all hurdles are not obstacles, but tests to mold and strengthen you. Remember, he doesn't give impossible tests. He wants you to succeed. Oh man, dude. You got me in my feels with that one. How about you? Also, good morning, Aaron Meredith. What's up? Jesse Leon making an appearance. My favorite Canadian, Jaeger Pony's here. Also, Black Hebrew Israelite. Oh my gosh, right. Where you been, my brother? Sup, wipe people and my joggers. I got you. I know where that's from. Come on now. All right. That's everyone I can see so far. If you show up in the chat, say something, and I'll say hi to you too. 17 people, 5 likes. The ratio is lacking, but I'm sure you're all going to fix that right now. Hit that like button, share the stream, click that link at the top, and you can throw money at me too. I got a long road trip this weekend that I got to pay for. Taking Lady Boomer up to the Northwest Angle. If you don't know what the Northwest Angle is, it is the northernmost point in the mainland United States. And it just happens to be in Minnesota, which sounds weird, doesn't it? You'd think it'd be somewhere in Maine or Washington. Nope, the northernmost point in the mainland United States is in Minnesota, called the Northwest Angle, and you have to drive through Canada to get there. It's a quirk of geography that most people just probably never heard of. So look it up, Northwest Angle. That's where we're going this weekend. We're going to stop at some landmarks along the way and take some pictures and enjoy the fall colors, because it's going to be almost peak fall colors up there. We usually plan every fall a fall colors trip. Usually it's in the first week of October, but that's a way farther north than we usually go. We usually could probably end up near Duluth, and the Northwest Angle is way up there north. And so fall colors up there hit a little earlier, and that's why we're going this weekend. So mainland includes Alaska. Contiguous does not. Okay, well, no. I mean, sort of. Because technically the Northwest Angle is not contiguous either, because it's well, I suppose it's only separated by water. Alaska and Hawaii are not considered the mainland, are they? Am I wrong? Huh? I don't know. Okay, well, whatever. You know what I mean. It's the northernmost point. It's because the southernmost point is in the Florida Keys. That's an island, but is that contiguous too? I don't know. They just say the southern, because actually the southernmost point in the United States is in the Big Island, Hawaii. Oh, now I'm so confused. I'm so confused. 80. Yeah, that. Anyway, the northern, western, and easternmost points are all in Alaska. The easternmost point is also in Alaska? I knew the northern and the westernmost. The southernmost. The northernmost point in the lower 48. Let's put it that way. How about that? Thank you. That Jesse Leon, thank you for saving my brain. The northernmost point in the lower 48 of the United States is in Minnesota. There you go. All right. Alaska is partially in the eastern hemisphere. Oh, true. That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. It goes across that little line in the whatever international timeline zone or whatever that's called. Whatever the hell that's called. All right, let's move on, because our geography lesson is over. Anyone else show up? Midnight. What up, Midnight? What up, young lady? How you doing? All right. And I'm sure that Ms. Wild Wolf is nearby. All right. Also, thanks to people sharing the show already. Not a whole lot of you yet, but we'll count the ones that do. Starting with Mr. Mike Savage Blarg. Thank you for well, you just liked the post, but you gave us a let us go right there. There it is. Every day. And also the Daily Wrestler. Oh, that's one of the shit. What the hell? Is that Shawn Michaels? It's kind of blurry. It looks like Shawn Michaels doing a pose over the sensational Sherry, like he's about to. I don't want to talk about that on TV, on the internet. Also, Green Badger Outdoors with their daily flyer. There we go. That's awesome. Ty Alexander with the woo, Ric Flair. Thank you. And people sharing this. Reed posted Man Squatch, and is that Tyre? I think that's Tyre Alexander and Resolute Germ, because my little thing that pops up when normally pops up ain't popping up. That sounded weird. That's what she said. Okay, moving on. Let's see what's next here. Oh, this is an Ed Krasenstein post. So Ed and Brian Krasenstein over the last couple of days, this is your daily Krasenstein, have been upset that Donald Trump is designating, or the Department of Justice, whatever, designating Antifa a terrorist organization. And they're really up in their feels about it. Antifa It's not an organization. It's just an idea. And then he posts this. Look, Antifa was out in force on the Ashbury Park, New Jersey boardwalk. Are these domestic terrorists? Is Trump going to arrest them? Oh, was Joe Biden going to arrest parents at school board meetings? But these are not Antifa, as in a group of Antifa. They may have that bullshit anti-fascist name or whatnot. His brother put some stupid shit out there too, because both of them tend to do that. But they're saying, oh yeah, see, Antifa's just an idea, except for the chapters in various cities like Portland and Seattle and whatever, and the little shitbags who walk around in their little black bloc costumes and commit violence and mayhem against people and other people's property. The terrorist type of Antifa. We're not talking about just people who say they're anti-fascist. And he's look, I think his brother posted something. I am Antifa. Right here. Who is Antifa? It is anyone who holds up a sign that says Antifa. Is it anyone who holds up a sign that says Antifa? Is it anyone who calls Trump a fascist? It is anyone who joins a peaceful protest in Portland or another entirely separate group in New York that identifies. It's the little fuckers who run around in black and punch people. That's who we're talking about. The little black bloc fuckers. Okay? So if you commit violence in the name of politics, you are committing the definition of terrorism, and you should be treated accordingly. Is it anyone who wears black clothing and covers their faces? Is it anyone who tracks and exposes white supremacist group online? Is it anyone who organizes community mutual aid efforts under an Antifa banner? Is it anyone who shares anti-fascist memes on social media? So when politicians and media figures say Antifa, if it's a single unified nationwide organization, they're oversimplifying to the point of distortion. Yeah, you know exactly who we're talking about, because you got a couple of them in here what we're describing. And so, for example, if you say Rose City Antifa, whose sole purpose is to go out and vandalize and commit violence against people on the right, that's who you're talking about. Okay, so right, it's like, we could do the same game with white supremacists. Your definitions of white supremacists. Anyway. The truth is, Antifa isn't a single group organization. It has no headquarters, no central leadership, no membership list. It's more a decentralized movement made up of local activists, small affinity groups, and individuals who believe in opposing fascism, racism, and far right. Oh, they're very loose definition of those things, right? For some, that opposition looks like a peaceful protest. No, it rarely does, actually. It rarely looks like people protest. Community education, mutual aid work. For others, it has included confrontational tactics at rallies, clashes with far-right groups. Oh, like Ben Shapiro? Yeah, gotcha. What one city calls Antifa may look very different from what another does. Okay, I'll give them that. I'll give them that little tiny, I'll give them that little bit of the credit for that little bit of tiny truth there. What one city calls Antifa may look very different from what another does. Okay, whatever. Then let's just target the specific violent and terroristic Antifa groups then. Fine? Is that okay, Ed? Is that cool? Because mostly the groups that call themselves Antifa are violent and like to destroy things. Hurt people and destroy things. That's what they like to do. That's what most of the ones we're talking about do. So, okay, fine. Okay. Quit pretending you don't know what we're talking about. Got it? Good. All right, moving on. I'll leave that in the links today. I don't know why. I didn't do the holidays. Hang on. Holidays. Because now it's just a part of the show, so I got to do it. I don't have any trending topic holidays because I didn't. What the hell did I do there? What the hell's that? Oh, this was Ed. Here, I'm going to leave that link. Or here, I'll leave that post up there. All right, holidays today. Man! I got to contain myself. I didn't even look at the holidays today. And the first one, by the way, when I met my wife, She was this, by the way, because she dyed her hair that color. It's Redhead Appreciation Day. Oh my goodness. It's Redhead Appreciation Day. Hold on. Let's look this up on X. Let's see. I'll leave that. That's it. Redhead. Oh, I better be careful with this because you never know what you're going to get. Redhead Appreciation. There we go. Because you know how Twitter is. You put up, you might get some body parts shown immediately. As I scroll down, okay, it's safe for at least the most part here. Okay. All right. I'm doing this for AD. Oh, shit. That's as far as I can scroll. Holy moly. I should be looking at that. All right. It's Redhead Appreciation Day again. As I said, and so I'll put up the post on X here of the trending topic. Yes, Redhead Appreciation Day, Tuesday, September 23rd. And as we scroll down, we see some lovely redheaded ladies. My mother's redhead. I don't know. Maybe that's an Oedipus thing with me. I always was into redheads, and my wife was a redhead when I met her. Although she has beautiful silver gray hair now. It's amazing. My wife's hair is amazing. Anyway, so as I scroll down, yeah, there's plenty of redheads to look at, and eye candy for Avocados Diablo. Hello, Miss Wild Wolf. You're here. Plague Trucker Zach is also in the house. What up? So anyway, happy Redhead Appreciation Day. Even the fellas, Carol Burnett, she was a redhead. And then I think this is almost where I had to stop scrolling. Is this, okay, I gotta be careful. I'm not gonna scroll too far because I don't want that vagina on the screen. Anyway, and there we go. So as we scroll down, that's safe for work. That's safe for YouTube, AD. I'm sure, and then this one's got the thing he's covered up there. Okay, she's good. And then these fine fellow, and then there's that one that I cannot scroll anymore. Happy Redhead Appreciation Day. Other holidays today: National Baker's Day. Bake some bread today. Celebrate Bisexuality Day. Well, I'm not going to be doing that, but somebody in your circle may or may not. I don't give a shit what they do in their own time, as long as they're trying to do it to me. I don't care. National Checkers Day. Now that's weird because checkers, challenge your friend to a game of checkers and see who comes out on top. I don't have these on the screen, do I? National Dogs in Politics Day. Who thinks of this stuff? National Go With Your Gut Day. Trust your instincts and make the most of National Go With Your Gut Day. International Day of Sign Languages. Very important for people who are hearing impaired. National Apple Cider Vinegar Day. Don't know why. It's apple cider vinegar. I usually try to put some in my collard greens. National American Pot Pie Day. I like a chicken pot pie every once in a while. Let's see who makes Marie Callender's. Their frozen chicken pot pies are very delicious. National Snack Stick Day, Education Technology Day, National Field Marketers Day, and Restless Leg Awareness Day. You know what? I have that. I have the restless leg. It always wants to walk when I'm sitting down. And I'm like, stop, I want to rest. And the leg's like, let's go, motherfucker. And I'm like, no, I'm sitting. And it's like, and I'm like, stop. I'm not celebrating that shit. Fuck that. Moving on. Let's see. Oh, and then we got the Catholic Saints Day. It's Padre Pio Day, P-I-O. I don't know who this is. Saint Padre Pio reminds of the power of prayer, humility, and the trust in God's will. May your example inspire and blah, blah. Where's the one that says today is the day? Because that would tell you what it is. Today is the feast day of Padre Pio. Jesus, Mary were the last words of the Padre. They have, I didn't need to see that. There's usually one that describes who it is. It's the feast of St. Padre Pio, who's an Italian Capuchin friar, priest, stigmatist, and mystic. Sancte Pio, ora pro nobis. If you can translate that, please do. So anyway, whoever that was. So there's your Catholic feast of the Saints Day. Play Tricker Zach, you seeing they're fucking with Trump at the UN at every turn? His teleprompter stopped, escalator to the floor stopped, mic cut out. No, I haven't seen that. It doesn't surprise me that they do that shit. We'll see it eventually. Also, celebrity birthdays today. The late, great, and I mean great Ray Charles. Ray Charles would have been how old would he? He'd have been like 96 today or something like that. Ray Charles. I really now look. When I was a kid, I didn't really know all about Ray Charles that much. I mean, he had some songs out there. Basically, the biggest one was "What You Say." That was like the one I knew. And then, but then later in life, I started listening to some old Ray Charles albums that my mom had. That dude was talented. He was amazing. He was really great. So happy birthday, post-mortem to the late, great Ray Charles, passed in 2004. And the movie Ray was pretty good too, with Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles. Also today, birthday, another celebrity birthday, also a musician, 73. Okay, 73, he would have been older than that, wouldn't he? 1930 to 2000 would have been 70. And add another 26 to that, he would have been 96 or 95 today. He would have been 95. Where'd you come up with 73? Now, it is Bruce Springsteen's birthday. And I'm not a fan of Bruce Springsteen's politics, but he's 76 today. Bruce Springsteen is 76 years old. That's wild. Anyway, happy birthday to the boss. Appreciated his music throughout the years, even though he was a little bit on the radical side. I didn't care. The music was good. And then he also had one of my favorite saxophone players in his band, Mr. Clarence Clemens. So happy birthday to the boss. There you go. All right, newsy stuff. Let's get some newsy stuff. One of the big things in the news that, well, I don't know if it's in the news, but I'm talking about it, is Dr. Ben Carson is going to be honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Dr. Ben Carson will be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. President Donald Trump announced the decision over the weekend during the American Cornerstone Institute's Foundation dinner. Congratulations, Ben. He didn't know this. He didn't know it. I hope he's happy, Trump said during the event, revealing the honor. And at the conclusion of his remarks, the ceremony to officially present the award will take place at the White House. Dr. Carson, renowned neurosurgeon and former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under Trump, founded the American Cornerstone Institute. The organization's website describes its mission as fighting for principles such as faith, liberty, community, and life. So Ben Carson, I believe, is the first surgeon to ever separate twins conjoined at the head. Brilliant neurosurgeon, and got a lot of flack for being associated with Trump, but who cares? He's a brilliant man, born in he grew up in the projects in Atlanta, and became one of the world's most renowned neurosurgeons. All right, other things in the news and trending topics. This is one that I hadn't seen yet, but apparently this went viral on X. Apparently, hot stone eggs. Anyone heard of that? I hadn't heard of it until I saw it trending today. Videos of scrambled eggs cooked with heated, colorful stones in a pan surged in popularity on X this week, shared by users Science Girl and Massimo, drawing thousands of views and reactions. The technique originates from ancient practices used by indigenous North American communities over 10,000 years ago. Now, look, how do they know that? How do they know that for sure, that it was used by indigenous communities over 10,000 years ago? How the flying flabble would they know that? Hello, Darren Root, what's up? So anyway, so here it is, the cooking of the eggs over hot stones. Wait, hang on, I'm gonna pull this back here. So there it is. They get the stones, they get them all hot, and then they're smooth rocks. So I suppose it could be sanitary or something. Yeah, I suppose there's a reason people don't do that anymore. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, here it is. So they're pouring it over the rocks, and apparently because the rocks are hot, they cook really quick. But then you got to separate them out of the rocks. Whose idea was this? And I don't believe that bullshit that it was, ancient some ancient cooking technique. Hello, Jay Blizz. What up, JB? What up? I see you, brother. All right. So anyway, that's a hot trending video there today. I don't ask me why. Tell me why. I don't know why the eggs cook on hot rocks. I just don't know why you do that. Seems inefficient. Yeah. So anyway, people are talking about it and making fun of it at the same time. So perfect. Other things trending. This was one of the top news items when I opened X this morning. Apparently, the Trump family net worth has doubled to $10 billion since the election, according to Forbes. Now, a lot of people are probably upset about this because they're upset about anything that happens to Trump. Because when he was president last time, his net worth dropped by $1 billion. Forbes estimate the Trump family collective family net worth. So I wonder if that includes Ivanka and Jared, who have nothing to do with the administration. Anyway, their net worth reached $10 billion as of September 2025, nearly doubling from pre-election levels, primarily through cryptocurrency ventures like World Liberty Financial and American Bitcoin, which raised hundreds of millions and stakes in Truth Social. And their stakes in Truth Social. Donald Trump's personal fortune grew to $7.3 billion, while family members, including Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Barron Trump. Ivanka Trump, who's not even associated with anything with the political side anymore. Well, actually, none of the kids are. None of them are part of the administration this year. And Barron Trump saw significant increases from advisory roles, licensing deals, and real estate partnerships in the Middle East, adding about $1 billion. This growth occurred amid broader economic challenges for Americans, such as rising groceries prices. Okay, so this is what Grok does. And I don't care that it does it, but when they put in these little things at the end, that's the things that people are bitching about, and Grok kind of aggregates what people are saying about every topic. So since last year's election, the Trump family has nearly doubled its wealth to $10 billion in less than a year. Smart people don't like me, Donald Trump. Okay, whatever. It's all about the grift, always. And a drift that has no interest in protecting American national security or homeland security. So all that people are mad about this, and I don't know. I don't care. If I don't like the idea that they would be profiting off the presidency, but it seems like the kids are doing that. Remember, all the stuff that Trump owned just went up in value while he's been president. And let's also remember that everything he had went down in value while he was president the last time. Cycles. Who knows how that's working? Is he doing things nefarious to cause his net worth to rise? I don't know. And if he is, we should probably have concerns about that. But right at this moment, I don't know that I care. I probably should. I probably should care a lot. But anyway, good morning, Unacceptable Views. My other favorite Canadians here. All right, other things. Let's see. Palestine voice Erdogan. What's the dude Erdogan of Turkey? In a shocking announcement, Erdogan has accused Israel of Gaza, genocide in Gaza, and defends Hamas at the UN General Assembly. Abbas demands Hamas's disarmament. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan addresses the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York, saying you cannot condemn the world between your two lips in New York. You will not be able to always. Okay, what is that? Okay, this sentence means nothing to me. It's an auto translation of what Erdogan said. Anyway, people are saying that I'm calling it Israel from here. You can be an organization because the West owes a lot to you, but Turkey owes you nothing. So that's the one quote they're talking about. Footage leaking from prisons, which Israel has turned into concentration camps, reveals in stark clarity the scale of oppression we are facing. That's Erdogan saying that. You know what's fascinating about this is Hamas is executing people in the streets who don't do what they say. Palestinians. Hamas is out there actually executing their own people. By the way, good morning, Select Boy. Yeah! Yeah, boy! And also, like we talked about yesterday, or was it, I don't know, whatever day it was. Was it yesterday or was it Friday? Every time I hear someone talk about what's going on in Palestine, the numbers change. You know, oh, they're just killing hundreds of thousands of children. They're doing this and that. And then I look at the numbers that the Palestinian Health Ministry gives you, telling you how many they believe have died in a war in which Hamas uses people as human shields, doesn't let some of the people leave so they have human shields. They have put their headquarters and whatever under hospitals and schools. And the Palestinian Health Ministry says 65,000 people have been killed. Maybe 100,000 if you include who they haven't found in the rubble. And I still haven't figured out how this whole genocide part works. Saying that they're committing genocide if 65,000 to 100,000 people have been killed when there's 6 to 7 million Palestinians. How is that genocide? I still don't understand. It sucks that children are being used as fodder by Hamas. It sucks that, you know, they use people as human shields because they, like as 80 says, humans make terrible shields. They make adequate bullet sponges. Oh my God. 80. So I'm still trying to figure out the whole genocide part. And, you know, there's organizations say they're committing genocide, and then other organizations say, well, wait a minute, here's the definition of genocide. This is no genocide. I haven't figured it out. And so anyway, but it's not shocking that Turkey, who is, you know, a mostly Muslim country, isn't siding with Israel. Okay. So let's move on. Also trending, Jimmy Kimmel apparently is coming back to Jimmy Kimmel Live Tuesday night. Disney and ABC have caved to the pressure from boycotts and left-wing backlash and announced Monday that Jimmy Kimmel Live will be returning to the air on Tuesday night. Disney announced on Monday that Kimmy's suspension has been lifted. Here's the quote. Oh, this is from Dylan Byers. New Disney from Jimmy Kimmel returns Tuesday. Last Wednesday, we made a decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some comments. Here, let me get the whole quote here. Some comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversation with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. So, and some are saying Jimmy did nothing wrong, which I said when it happened. Probably not a reason for him to be kicked off the show, but lots of people have been kicked off shows for things they've said outside of their shows when Jimmy said it on air. So whatever. They want to make that decision. That's good on them. I don't care. I don't think the government should be censoring Jimmy Kimmel, but if the stations say they're going to not, they're going to suspend him, they should have. Midnight Exile, I'm sick and tired of rule breakers getting in their way because they piss and moan. Why the fuck do I bother following any rules? Kind of, yeah. Anyway, and I don't know what the rules are, I don't know what the rules are for that. I mean, he's free to be an asshole if he wants to be. But although ABC and Disney are bringing Jimmy Kimmel back, Sinclair Broadcasting, which is also trending, said, nah, we're good for now. Sinclair ABC stations will not air Jimmy Kimmel Live, despite the return to the network. Sinclair Broadcast Group revealed that it won't air Jimmy Kimmel Live on its ABC affiliate stations, despite Disney's decision to bring back the late-night talk show host beginning Tuesday. So much for his ratings. Hello, Shrapnel, by the way. Beginning on Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming Sinclair, which has the largest number of the network affiliate stations, posted on X Monday. Discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return. Kimmel's shows pulled following his controversial comments about slaying conservative activist Charlie Kirk, negotiated his return Wednesday with Walt Disney. His return with Walt Disney CEO Bob Iger and his number 2 Disney Entertainment co-chair Dana Walden. The $15 million per year late night host will address his comments during a monologue on his return broadcast Tuesday, though he will stop short of apologizing for his remarks that Kirk's alleged killer was part of the MAGA gang. I don't think he's gonna be contrite at all. But anyway, lots of people were suddenly concerned about people's free speech that Jimmy Kimmel got suspended when they couldn't give two shits when Roseanne or Gina Carano or anyone else who's blackballed by Hollywood because they might be on the right. Oh my God, these are on the right. So, but they're all private companies. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. Moving on. Scott Jennings is trending. Good Lord. So, Scott Jennings, the soundbite machine from This is CNN. Well, Keith Olbermann appears to threaten CNN analyst Scott Jennings, saying, "You're next, motherfucker." Former ESPN anchor Keith Olbermann appeared to threaten conservative CNN analyst Scott Jennings on Monday. Olbermann wrote to Scott Jennings in a now deleted post on X, "You're next, motherfucker." Wow, he quickly deleted the set of tweets after getting called out. But keep mugging to the camera. According to the New York Post, Olbermann was responding to a tweet from Jennings reacting to ABC and reinstating late-night host Jimmy Kimmel after he was pulled off the air for offensive comments related to conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now we get the fascist off real TV. That means your career is next. Send a tape to Real America's Voice, Olbermann posted in a thread, a possible clarification of what he meant. Maybe. Olbermann's post comes less than a week after he suggested conservative activist Charlie Kirk is burning in hell following his assassination. So, Jennings, hearing the words "you're next," was certainly concerned about what that meant. Breaking Scott Jennings asked the FBI to investigate these reported threats made, then deleted by Keith Olbermann against him. Wow. WTF, man. So, yeah. Probably not a good time, Keith, even if you meant being taken off the air. Probably not a good time to say the "you're next" part, because that could be considered a threat. Also, speaking of entertainment, Mike Wilbon from ESPN apparently is excited that Bruce Pearl's the basketball coach at, I believe, was it Auburn University? I think so. And he's retiring. And apparently Mike Wilbon was happy because, unfortunately, Bruce Pearl has some conservative ideas. Here's the clip.
Happy trails to coaching for Bruce Pearl. The Auburn coach is stepping down to become an ambassador for the athletic department. In his place, the school gave a 5-year deal to his son, Stephen. Pearl is 65. He has had terrific teams at Milwaukee, Tennessee, and Auburn, which made the Final Four last season and in 2019.
Okay, so he's got a good coaching career. Oh, by the way, I have a personal connection to Bruce Pearl. When I was in college, way back then. Bruce is only he's like 4 years older than me. But he was an assistant coach at the University of Iowa when I was in college. When I was a college cheerleader, he was an assistant coach at the University of Iowa. Maybe even, he might have been a student assistant, whatever, but he was an assistant because he was on the bench at the University of Iowa when I was a cheerleader. And we at Drake University had a game at the University of Iowa. And our cheerleaders were on one sideline, the Iowa cheerleaders were on the other sideline, and for some reason, our cheerleaders, our squad, was right in front of the Iowa, like on the ends line with the Iowa bench, just right over there. just the Iowa bench, and Bruce Pearl was sitting right there, and I was right here, and I had a megaphone. We're, yelling, and in the beginning of the game, it was a close game because usually when Drake would play, bigger, more powerful programs, we'd hold our own until then we get in the second half and usually get blown out, whatever, because it's one of those money games. The big school playing a smaller school because they can give the smaller school a shit ton of money. And I was on the sidelines. I had my megaphone, and they were in the middle of a timeout, and it was our turn to make noise during that timeout. And so my megaphone, instead of putting it out to our crowd, I was yelling right at Bruce Pearl's head while we were cheering while they're in the timeout, and at the Iowa, whatever. No, it's not kind of gay, unacceptable views, but you just don't understand. Anyway, so I'm yelling through there, and Bruce Pearl turns around and gives me a death stare. And I thought it was kind of funny. And then 2 years later, we were there again, and he remembered me. He kind of gave me a look like, don't do it. Don't do it. And I did it anyway, so whatever. All right, so you did this to yourself. What are you talking about? I don't give a fuck. You think I'm worried? I am very attuned to my personal sexuality. So anyway, let's see what Mike Wilbon had to say about Bruce Pearl leaving Auburn.
The decision comes about a year after Tony Bennett did the same thing at UVA. Pearl said he will not run for the U.S. Senate, something that had been rumored.
Tony, he become a divisive person, it seems to me, intentionally.
Whoa!
And I hope there was pressure to just get him out.
Divisive? Huh. Divisive.
Really?
Yeah.
I always liked him. He was such a great guest. Yeah, we're on the other side on him.
Mad because Bruce Pearl is a conservative. And so he's divisive. He's a divisive person. A lot of people talking about this. What an idiot comment from Wilbon. Kornheiser shouldn't have rolled over. Apparently, Wilbon only likes athletic coaches who speak out on social issues if they align with his views. Otherwise, you are divisive. What a narrow-minded, small view. And I wonder if Mike Wilbon thinks people like, what's that coach at the San Antonio Spurs that is very left-wing and always talking about stuff? Or there's some coaches out there who are very open about their left-wing politics. Are those coaches divisive also? I just wonder. Popovich at San Antonio, or Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is very left-wing politics. Is he divisive too, Wilbon, or is it just because you don't like the politics? So that's why he's trending. Other things happening. Debt mega donor Netflix chief endorses Trump's $100,000 HB1 visa fee. Thinks it's a great solution. Oh my. So maybe I think I talked about this. I don't remember. Anti-Trump Democrat mega donor and billionaire Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings is offering praise to Donald Trump for his H-1B visa reforms, calling them a great solution. Hastings is a major funder of the Never Trump group Defending Democracy Together and its Republican Accountability PAC. Notably, DDT is spearheaded by former Republicans Bill Kristol and Sarah Longwell. He says, I've worked on H-1B politics for 30 years. Trump's $100,000 per year tax is a great solution, Hastings wrote in a post on X, formerly Twitter. It will mean H-1B visa is used for very high value jobs, which will mean no lottery needed and more certainty for those jobs. The endorsement of H-1B visa reforms comes as a fairly significant surprise, as Hastings was a major donor to not just Never Trump groups, but also to Kamala Harris's disastrous 2024 presidential campaign. So that's interesting, having one of the big tech bros endorsing what's going to cost them a lot of money, but maybe slows down the H-1B visa program. I don't know. That's interesting. Moving on, Tylenol's trending now. Everyone's talking about Tylenol now because let's do on September 22nd, which was yesterday, Donald Trump and HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced federal guidance cautioning pregnant women against using acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, due to observational studies linking prenatal exposure to higher risk of autism and ADHD in children. Gotta save the children. The FDA will update product labels, issue alerts to physicians, and launch a public awareness campaign while committing to further research on neurodevelopment effects. The administration also promoted leucovorin as a treatment for folate deficiency in some autistic children. Experts from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists maintain that no causal link has been proven, and acetaminophen remains the safest option for managing pregnancy-related pain and fever. Now, this has caused quite the uproar between anyone on the left who doesn't like Robert Kennedy Jr. and Trump, for that matter, and so it says, I'd like to congratulate Tylenol on their upcoming multi-million-dollar lawsuit settlement. Because Trump, in his announcement, sounded a little bit off the rails, talking like he finished it up with "Don't take Tylenol." And Tylenol will probably sue and probably will win anyway. Autism was first identified in 1911. Tylenol was introduced in 1950. Don't listen to the guy with the brainworm. Release the Epstein. Okay. Here's the problem here with the way people are talking about this. This didn't just come out of the blue. So here's the announcement. By the way, thank you, Avocado Sal. The first sponsor today, you are the new Streamline Superstar sponsor of the day. Who says, speaking of autism, putting a small bullet tip jar, he says, speaking of autism, isn't it interesting that back when women used to smoke and drink during pregnancy, there was practically no autism? Yes, I guess. I don't know. So here it is. This is in PJ Media. Donald Trump, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and multiple medical professionals made a bombshell allegations and recommendations on Monday as they explore data and initiate new research on the potential link between autism and various treatments. It is undeniable that there has been significant increase in autism diagnoses, especially among boys in recent years, and it is reasonable for parents to want answers. Up until now, very few objective studies have been done on what might cause or treat autism, but the Trump administration believes it is exploring the right avenues to eventually come up with helpful answers. As they researched the topic, they issued some initial advice with caveats. Based on research already obtained by federal agency, and by the way, there's a study at Harvard that is linking them. Again, correlation, not necessarily causation, but there's a high correlation between the growth in it. But Trump urged pregnant women not to take Tylenol and said that the vaccine childhood schedule that should be more spread out. Kennedy, the National Institute of Health Director Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Mehmet Oz with the CDC, FDA Commissioner Marty Makary, and Dr. Dorothy Fink also issued preliminary recommendations regarding vaccines and medications in connection to autism. Trump said, quote, "There's never been anything like this. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and it's now 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much more than that." He noted that some groups, such as the Amish, who use fewer big pharma products, appear to have lower autism rates. Trump recommended, based on the data that his healthcare officials provided, that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy, as the drug could possibly be linked to autism. He and the medical professionals all emphasized during the Monday press conference the need for women and children to come up with individualized plans for treatment based on personal physician recommendations. And then he pointed out some things about vaccines, blah, blah, blah. So that was a big announcement, and people are losing their minds over this. Because Trump said it, they're screaming, do the opposite of Trump says. And it's kind of humorous. What was one of my favorite memes was, let's see, Trump says, don't take it. And where is it? and there's some truth to the fact that Amish people have extremely low rates of autism. I can't find it. There's a meme. There's a meme where Trump says, "Don't take Tylenol," and there's a meme of Destiny with a bottle of Tylenol being dumped down his throat, as opposed to his wife's lover's spunk. So anyway, the other article on this, again, I think we found an answer to autism. What to know about Trump major announcement. Again, more of the same on that particular topic. So that's it. And then the Amish are also trending because of this. Liz Churchill, we are vindicated. We cannot find one unvaccinated child that has autism in the Amish community. The CDC has been hiding all the data. The vaccine terrorists are guilty of mass injury, death, and crimes against humanity. That's one person's take on this. The Amish are exempt from both paying Social Security and are being drafted. They are exempt from paying Social Security and being drafted. They earn these rights by standing as a group and refusing to back down. Well, just remember, the Amish also ride around in buggies and stuff too. So, here it is. The Amish don't suffer from autism. Also the Amish, they build shit and they have lots of kids and they're happy. And anyway, that's a whole other thing. So lots of people are pissed about this announcement. Lots of people are saying Trump's going to get sued for saying don't take Tylenol. I don't know. Let's see. If you spend a day in Amish country, you will very quickly understand why using Amish communities as the control group for developmental disorders is insane. Maybe. Here's a look at the top for least rates of autism. The Amish and nations that don't use Tylenol don't put fluoride in their drinking water and who have low or limited vaccines. So they're saying the Amish, India, France, Iceland, Germany, whatever, showing different rates of autism and other things there. So there you go. All right. Thank you, Avocados Diabli. Another small bullet in the tip jar saying, I mean, they can always embrace chewing willow bark for pain, like the indigenous people did 10,000 years ago. Do we know that for a fact? Do we know they did that for a fact 10,000 years ago? I don't know. All right, let's move on. And then, Big Pharma's also trending because, that Big Pharma's mad if you tell them not to take some of those drugs or some of those vaccines. Big Pharma's going to be all over you. They're not going to stop giving you money. I don't think Trump gives a shit about them giving him money, but let's see. Trump is bucking the multi-billion dollar Big Pharma company and advising the American people against using Tylenol during pregnancy when it would normally be used most. When is the last time a president did something like this? It is incredible. It is incredible. It is incredible. I got to tell you, that's some. It takes some cojones to buck the pharmacy industry. You should find a study of those that are unvaccinated versus all diseases. Yeah, I've seen that too. Where look, there were unvaccinated children. And I'm fully on board with the vaccination thing, but there are studies that show some unvaccinated children have fewer health problems than vaccinated kids. It's just that they get one of those nasty diseases, they are more likely to die. But I tell you, a lot of these things they vaccinate against. I go, why? Why are you doing what's the one? Why are they doing a is it Hep C or Hep B that they get as an infant? Why are you giving a Hep B or hepatitis shot to a child, an infant? What are the chances of an infant getting something that's usually contracted through sexual contact? I don't get it. I don't get even the measles one, and the chickenpox vaccines. The chickenpox in particular, but measles too. It's like, measles was pretty common and not a lot of people die from measles. I mean, some do, and I'm not saying that this, that's a bad thing. But even when they had that measles outbreak in Texas, one child died. It wasn't from the measles. It's from a respiratory issue. So I don't get it. always. How much does pharma spends per year lobbying Congress? 2024, $388 million. And, you know, so they don't like this kind of talk, especially. So, and since almost every news outlet is dependent on pharma money to keep their stations going, especially CNN and MSNBC. I think every other ad on CNN is Pfizer, something Pfizer. No surprise. All right. Now let's get to the topic of the thumbnail today, and that'd be Kameleon Harris. Kameleon Harris has crawled out of under wherever she was. Oh, God. I just thought of what that sounds like. Just came out of under something or somebody and decided to do an interview with Rachel Maddow. And so lots of people are talking about the Kamala Harris, Rachel Maddow interview. Just a couple. I'm going to just go through some of the things that people posted as far as the what she said. And some of it. Oh, by the way, the reason you probably already know why I called the stream Making Salad, because Kamala Harris is one of the greatest salad makers of all times. Anyway, let's see. Let's just read a few of these. Kamala Harris is on Maddow describing Trump as a dictator and a tyrant. Oh my gosh. We need to turn down the heat of the rhetoric, huh? It says we must fight fire with fire. Oh my goodness. Dangerous rhetoric at any time, but 12 days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk is unfathomably ghoulish by both host and guest. Just shocking irresponsibility. Yeah, were we talking about turning down the temperature a little bit? Donald Trump's a dictator and a tyrant. We must fight fire with fire. That's turning down the heat. Here's another one. Kyle Rugg, he's on the right. Kamala Harris says she couldn't pick Big Pete. Excuse me. Quote. Let's try that again. Kamala Harris says she couldn't pick Pete Buttigieg as a running mate because he's gay. And there was only 107 days. Maddow says to say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay, it's hard to hear. Harris, no. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. With the stakes being so high, it may be very sad, but also realize it would be a real risk because he's gay. She didn't say that, but may as well. But she denied the accusation and admitted it was true. Okay, so here it is. Now you listen to this and see if you think she was saying he couldn't be on the ticket because he was gay. Listen carefully.
I guess.
By the way, if you didn't know this already, Rachel Maddow, this is a subject near and dear to her because she's gay. Just saying. Listen.
I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear.
Yeah.
With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected that.
You check more than one. You check 3 important boxes. You're a woman and you're a black. What'd she say? Did she say a black woman and a Southeast Asian woman? And you're Blasian. You're a Blasian woman. Anyway.
That high office, very nearly elected president, to say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay. It's hard to hear.
Calling her out a little bit here, isn't she? Now, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I cut it off before she started to answer. Listen carefully. Are you sure that's not Chris Hayes? No, I don't. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell because he's not wearing his glasses. Midnight. Sorry, PDawgKnight, but what are you? Only joking. Gay! Anyway.
A South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president, to say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay. It's hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States.
Donald Trump never mentioned her being black, by the way.
And as a vice
Wait a
president.
minute, I thought you were Asian. Which one is it? Pick one.
Presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
Because he's gay. Wait a minute. The question was, something realize your kid be something gay, something or whatever, and she's like, well, yeah, I know, but with 107 days knowing Donald Trump and this, and it because of only 107 days and he was gay, that I couldn't put him on the ticket. Isn't that what she's saying? Hello, Annalyn. Hello, Willie. Willie is in a house. Listen to this again. Listen, I'm going to listen. We're going to play it again, the whole thing. And I'm going to not interrupt it. Just listen to her. Listen to her.
Woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was
gay.
It's hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
What would be a real risk? Because he's gay. That's what the risk was for you. That instead you put a different gay guy on the ticket. You know what I'm saying. I think Tim Walz was a worse choice than Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg does very well in front of people and on TV. And he doesn't look like a weirdo even though he's gay. I personally think Pete Buttigieg is a pretty good politician. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he's gay. I don't agree with him on policy much at all, but I think he seems to be the most sensible Democrat in the entire fucking party, even though he's gay. Nobody cares that he's gay. That's your issue, Kamala. That's your perception, Kamala, that you couldn't put him on the ticket because he's gay. This is amazing. Let's see how she tries to weasel out of this. Does she? There's another minute left. How did she weasel out of this?
I've been an advocate and an ally of the LGBT community.
You
my
just
entire
admitted
life. So
that's why.
It wasn't about.
You just admitted why you couldn't put him on the ticket, though. We only had 107 days. That was a big risk because he's gay. I really?
Right, so it wasn't about any prejudice on my part, but we had such a short period.
You don't trust the American people to not give a shit about him being gay. And maybe some wouldn't care about him being gay. I mean, yeah, the whole breastfeeding, he took a month off to fake breastfeed and shit. But so you're not very self-aware.
Time. And the stakes were so high
That I couldn't put a gay man on the ticket. All I do is finish a sentence for her. Because couldn't take the risk of putting a gay man on the ticket. That's basically finish the sentence, Kamala.
A phenomenal public servant.
But he's gay.
And I think America is and would be ready for that.
I think they'd have been more ready for Pete Buttigieg than Kamala Harris.
But when I had to make that decision with 2 weeks to go, you know, and maybe I was being too cautious. You know, I'll let our friends, we should all talk about that. Maybe I was.
Rachel's letting her off the hook.
But that's
Holy
the decision
shit.
I made, and I, as with everything else in the book, I'm being very candid about that.
Yeah.
Because he's gay.
With a great deal of sadness about also the fact that it might have been a risk.
Sorry, Midnight. I can't help it if he's gay. Holy shit. Rachel let her get away with that too. That's amazing. All right, let's see. Maddow, it's really hard to hear that you didn't want to choose Pete because he was gay. Comma, I did not choose Pete because he was gay. I didn't choose him because he was gay and I only had 107 days. That's basically what it turned down to. Now, someone on the left posted a clip too. This is the call to action or activism. They're some left-wing page shills, whatever. Major breaking. Kamala Harris demolishes Donald Trump on Maddow, calling him a tyrant who's using the federal government to execute his whim and fancy because of a fragile ego and urging titans of industry to stand up to him. This is what leadership looks like. Let's see what this clip's, see if this clip, how this clip is. I haven't seen it. I'm just playing them because they're in order.
At some point, they've got to stand up for the sake of the people who rely on all of these institutions to have integrity and to, at some point, be the guardrails against a tyrant who is using the federal government to execute his whim and fancy because of a fragile ego. At some point...
Wait a minute. Let me read this post again. Major breaking. Now, usually when someone says major breaking, it's something that is super duper newsworthy. And I want to see, I want you to think about this. Did what she just said, is that super newsworthy? Is that a headline on the New York Post or the New York Times or Washington Post or anywhere else? Is that a headline grabbing statement? Again, they said, major breaking, Kamala Harris demolishes Trump on Maddow, calling him a tyrant who's using the federal government to execute his women fancy because of a fragile ego. Wow, that's... yeah, she got him there because no one's ever called him a tyrant before. Holy shit, that's lame. Okay, let's see. Here's the other one. The most interesting moment from Maddow's Kamala sit-down wasn't standard Kamala word salad or Trump attacks. Since Antifa's designation as a terror organization, we're going to see a lot more of this with legacy media, pretending to have no idea what Antifa is or what they do. Kind of like Brian Krassenstein did in that post earlier, right? Let's see if Kamala Harris even knows who Antifa is. They're going to do the David Pakman route of, I'm not even really sure what Antifa is. I mean, I've never really heard of it.
Yeah. We've also now, in an executive order today, we've got the president describing Antifa, the anti-fascist. It's not even really a movement. The anti-fascist tactics of a portion of the protest movement as a domestic terrorist.
You mean the fascist tactics of the anti-fascists, Antifa? Not just anti-fascists, but Antifa, the people who call themselves Antifa, that run around in black and hit people and break shit. Let's see if she knows what they're talking about.
Organization. What is your reaction to those things? What do you think the appropriate response is to things like that?
Well, in normal times, we should and could expect that our courts would step in when asked to declare the legality or illegality of what the president is doing, because, Civics 101, we all know. We designed our democracy through 3 co-equal branches of government, the executive, the legislative, and the courts.
So when the executive branch labels Catholics as potential terrorists and people who go to school board meetings to demand accountability to school boards, when the Justice Department says that they're going to tactically going to go after those people, that's not the fascist thing that you're talking about. That's not the courts, didn't have to hold them accountable. That happened during the administration you were in. Oh my God. Anyway, Kamala Harris tells Rachel Maddow that she didn't say Pete Buttigieg wasn't picked to be VP because he's gay. And then she goes 2-minute word salad answer confirming what she wrote in the book, that she didn't pick him because he was gay. We saw that already. A lot of people putting that one in. Kamala Harris lies and says her humiliating defeat to President Trump was the closest presidential election in the 21st century. Let's think about that. Was it? I thought Trump's victory in 2016 was a closer race than 2024, wasn't it? And wasn't Obama? No, his were both pretty big wins. George W. Oh, wait a minute. Well, you can't count 2000 because that's still the 20th century. Here's what she said.
The sitting vice president enters the race against a former president of the United States who's been running for 10 years with 107 days to go.
She's been running for 10 years. Had he been, though? Anyway.
And it ended up being the closest presidential election in the 21st century.
Wow. So that's an interesting way to put it. But no, even the second... Bush Gore, though, wasn't Bush Gore was in the 20th century. The year 2000 is still the 20th century. It's not the 20... Isn't right? But the election the next time in 2004, Bush carried. That was also a closer race than the 2024 election. So there you go. All right. Let's see here. Any other clips? Kamala tried telling sad face Maddow how she didn't. Okay, that we already got that one. Let's see. Watching Kamala Harris interview on Rachel Maddow show right now. It's a great interview, and she would have been a great president if half of America weren't stupid people and believed the lives of the big orange grifter. Well, Sherry, fuck you. A lot of people talking about the tyrant part and the Pete Buttigieg is gay part. So there you go. All right, here's let's see. There's something on Breitbart. So here's the Breitbart article. Trump is a tyrant killing capitalism to stroke his fragile ego. Monday on MSNBC, Major Maddow Show, former Vice President Kamala Harris called President Donald Trump a tyrant for demanding concessions from law firms, universities, and entertainment companies. She claimed that destroys capitalism. Harris said, I'm a lifelong public servant, but I've worked closely with private sector over many years. That's interesting. She says she's a lifelong public servant, but she's worked with the private sector. Yeah, you've worked to destroy the private sector every chance you get. And I always believe that if push comes to shove, those kinds of industry would be guardrails for our democracy. Our democracy. We saw this part. We don't need to say it again. She thinks that industry should fight against Donald Trump. Okay, whatever. That's her prerogative. It's her prerogative. All right, let's move on to some other things since I have time to actually get to some articles today. This is an interesting one. So if you're not familiar with Senator Ron Wyden, he's a Democrat from Oregon. Apparently there's a big lawsuit against Ron Wyden. An explosive lawsuit alleges that the children of Senator Ron Wyden... Now, wait a minute. Hang on a second. Why is this a scandal for Wyden? Well, let's read and see what it is. Alleges that the children of Senator Ron Wyden tormented their mother's personal assistant so severely that he ultimately took his own life. Brandon O'Brien, 35, worked for Wyden's wife, Nancy Bass Wyden, from June 2022 to September 2024. Court filings say O'Brien was frequently tasked with caring for the senator's young kids. How does Senator Ron Wyden have young kids? This old fucker. I'm curious now. I'm more curious about the young kids than that. Including chauffeuring them to school in New York City and even supervising them on family trips to Disney World. Instead of gratitude, the lawsuit claims he endured relentless abuse from the children that drove him to suicide. Now, this is interesting because why is his wife and family, young kids, living in New York City if he's the Democrat senator from Oregon? That's another question. I could see if he had a house in D.C. and they were living there. Here's the details from the New York Post. The disturbing behavior began in September 2022 when the couple's then 10-year-old daughter, this old fucker has a 10-year-old daughter? Siri, how old is Senator Ron Wyden? Ron Wyden is 76 years old. And in 2022, 3 years ago, had a 10-year-old kid. I didn't even give that old man a fist bump. All right, let's see here. The disturbing behavior began in September 2022 when the couple's then 10-year-old daughter allegedly exposed herself to O'Brien, making sexually explicit comments and asking about his intimate life during the school drop-offs. O'Brien's husband, Tom Maltezos, alleged in court papers he filed against Bass Wyden and her company, Bass Real Estate. Now, this is not normal behavior for children. Where did they learn such behaviors and attitudes from? And more importantly, why didn't it stop? According to the New York Post, Wyden's wife allegedly did nothing about the behavior. According to Maltezos, that sounds just weird. Why would a 10-year-old girl doing that to this old whatever? This apparently the guy's gay. Meanwhile, the Wyden's teenage son berated O'Brien with homophobic slurs such as "maggot" and "zestkitten," whatever that means, and the boy said his football team would unwillingly sexually violate him. The suit claimed the boy allegedly threw things at O'Brien, and the mom once maced her son to restrain him, but inadvertently maced O'Brien, according to the Manhattan Supreme Court papers. Some of the alleged abuse took place at Disney in front of Maltezos and his mother, the widower claimed. Lawyers for Nancy Bass Wyden have already moved to have Maltezos' suit thrown out, according to court filings. A spokeswoman for Bass Real Estate blasted the complaint as baseless and deeply misguided and riddled with false accusations. The statement went further, accusing O'Brien of misconduct. It appears to be a continued effort to deflect attention from O'Brien's own serious misconduct, including a documented pattern of theft from those he once worked for. When O'Brien finally quit in frustration on September 30th, 2024, Nancy Bass Wyden, 64, wasted no time. The next day, she filed a report with the New York Police Department accusing him of $650,000 in credit card and other thefts, authorities say. Now, that's okay. They must have adopted some kids because she's 64, which means 10-year-old 3 years ago. Yeah, that's got to be adopted kids. Court documents allege that Bass Wyden also hired a private investigator to dig into O'Brien's personal life and business dealings. By January, she reportedly spread false rumors to industry contacts and his professional colleagues, leaving O'Brien in deep distress. Tragically, O'Brien took his own life on May 26th. The allegations against the senator's wife are shocking, disturbing, and cruel, and no person should ever be subject to this level of harassment, much less in the workplace, Maltezos' attorney said in a statement. Sounds like some he said, she said. Adopted or purchased. Oh, damn, that's cold. Even if half the allegations are true, the Wydens stand exposed not just as negligent, but as enablers of cruelty within their own home. Well, that's if it's true. This is a weird story, I'm telling you. And again, it's coming from the deceased spouse, I guess. This isn't really a family scandal. It's a moral indictment of Democrats who publicly preach tolerance but can't seem to teach those values to their own children. No, it's not. Okay. No, it's not an indictment of Democrats. And if it's the things are true, it's an indictment of shitbag Ron Wyden, because no other Democrats are involved in this. I'm not going to play that game on either side anymore. It's indicative of the behavior of one shitbag and his shitbag wife, if the allegations are true. And if they're not true, then maybe not so shitbag and shitbag wife, although Ron Wyden's a shitbag either way. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? That story makes no fucking sense. It's not an indictment of Democrats, but it is another Democrat scandal that probably swept under the rug. But it's not related to him being a Democrat. So other stuff, I got several Charlie Kirk articles open if you'd like to read some of them. Just about the funeral. We will look at this one. Well, we know that Ilhan Omar said some shitty stuff about Charlie Kirk and his legacy. CNN's Caitlin Collins confronted Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar on Friday for highlighting criticism of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk after his assassination, prompting the representative to claim people were excusing reprehensible statements from the conservative figure. By the way, you can read this yourself. I'm not going to include this one. Let me change my mind. I'm changing my mind. We're not doing it. But Reaccion Puerto Rico pointed out to me today that I coined a new term, and I don't know if I even realized it. I kind of realized it, but I didn't really think about it. And the term is called, and I did it yesterday, but I'm going to talk about it again today. The term is called fine peopling somebody. And I was like, wow, that is actually a good term, fine peopling somebody. It's when you quote somebody verbatim, but in a false way to not to make them look shitty. Okay, so what they did with Trump with the fine people quote of the fine people of Charlottesville, whatever, the very fine people on both sides, when he explicitly said he wasn't talking about the white supremacists and neo-nationalists, whatever they were, the white nationalists, the white supremacists and white nationalists, whatever. He wasn't talking about them. He's just talking about people there to honor their dead relatives. And everyone, on the left was saying, he said there are fine people on both sides, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, we should start just calling that tactic fine peopling, because they've been doing it to Charlie Kirk. They will take a quote from Charlie Kirk, and it's basically just taking a quote out of context, but in such an egregious way that it's actually lying. And so, thank you, TC. TC, the tree rat. Good morning, by the way. Thanks for dropping a 6-piece in the tip jar, and you are now the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Who says, that's nuts. I'm assuming you're talking about the Ron Wyden thing, right? Is that what you mean? Thank you for dropping a 6 spot in the tip jar. Appreciate it. You can do that through Streamlabs. Johnny Boomertech's putting links. Look for Johnny Boomertech. He's putting links if you want to donate to the show. It would be great help because I got a long road trip to do this weekend. So anyway, back to fine peopling. Where you take a phrase or an accurate quote, using an accurate quote to lie about what somebody actually meant or said. So you can use a accurate quote and still be lying about their position on something. So, for example, with Charlie Kirk, people were talking about how, well, Charlie Kirk said the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a mistake. Yeah, those exact words came out of his mouth. But it wasn't about saying that the whole Civil Rights Act was a mistake. He was talking about how it was being used in ways that were never intended. For example, they began to use it if they saw disparate outcomes of people's, success in various fields. They were beginning to use it to enforce either affirmative action or equity or whatever. or taking away people's freedom of association. So he didn't say that the idea that people should be able to use, not have to use separate bathrooms and shit. He said the intent for making equality for Black Americans was a good idea, but is being used in ways to force kids to be able to go, like boys go to girls' bathrooms now, using the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So yeah, the words verbatim came out of his mouth, but it's a lie about what his intentions were with that. So that's one of the things there. All right, I'm going to skip all the Charlie Kirk stuff. But there's several really good articles I have in the links today that if you want to learn more about what's going on with the Charlie Kirk stuff. Although there's one article here that's interesting. Death penalty for Kirk assassins, a bad idea. And this is someone who says they're not opposed to the death penalty for specific heinous crimes. Certainly it was warranted for Timothy McVeigh and Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's killing was indeed heinous. However, the alleged assassin is Tyler Robinson. And that gives me pause because there are thousands of Tylers out there ready to make him a martyr. This hate-filled, deluded, brainwashed community has been groomed deliberately by a Machiavellian academia since the 1960s. There was a time when public education institutions were staffed with unbiased professors and educated their students with genuine facts and encouraged independent thought. That was back then. Wait, what? There was a time as a proud product of Catholic education for 12 years, I finally witnessed public education at Hunter College, but was thankfully inoculated against the liberal spin spun by their professors lauding the genius of the Communist Manifesto. I made sure my 6 children were inoculated as well, and they are doing the same for my 14 grandchildren. In 1973, I watched the Woody Allen film Sleeper and was surprised at this prescient plot line considering Allen as a Hollywood liberal. The film is post-apocalyptic, and the world is now totalitarian. One of the scientists explains that history is unclear on how civilization ended, but their best story is that a man named Albert Shanker got a hold of a nuclear warhead. Everybody in New York City was familiar with Shanker, who was the head of the teachers union. Union, just a typo. And how the city endured his endless demands and extortionist strike threats. According to Breitbart.com, nothing has changed. The head of the nation's largest teachers union, Randy Weingarten, is back to calling conservatives fascist and authoritarians and making comparison to Nazis just days after Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Anyway, the point here is they think that they don't want to make this kid a martyr, and that's why they shouldn't do the death penalty. Thank you, TC. Moist Tree Rat tipped another 6 spot and says, I am also TC and wet. I'm not 100% sure whether or not that is too much information or not. I'm not sure. Anyway, okay. I think that's got to be it for today because it's time. Hey, here's what I'd like you to do. Oh, wait. Did I mention it was Redhead Appreciation Day? Let me find, oh, not that one. Can't show you that one. Oh, my God. Ugh. I didn't need to, I scrolled and I did, oh. I'm just warning you. If you go into that trending topic and you scroll, there's going to be some things there that you do not want to see. Let me figure this out. Let me find, I just need one last redhead to put on the screen. I'm scrolling through here and my God, some of them you just don't want to see. That's AI. We don't need that, even though, whatever. Let me find a decent finish up for Redhead Appreciation Day and then we're going to get out of here. Okay. Oh, this one's kind of a dog, but oh, good God. All right, wait a minute. All right. I'm trying to get one decent one that doesn't show you red pubes around a penis. That's the one that I went, didn't need to see it. Not at all. Good Lord. Is there? Okay, there's not. No one's. Everyone's failing me. I'm scrolling. That's a fake. Okay, it's just gonna have to be this one. This is a cute lady with red hair with nice eyes and shit. There you go. There's your Redhead Appreciation Day picture of the day, and there you go. If you scroll on the topic again, I'm warning you. I'm warning you. If you scroll on that topic, you're gonna see the things you damn well sure don't want to see. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on the Morning Night Live. I'm about to put these links in the chat like I always do, and we will go from there. Did I click the right button? Yes, I did. Here it comes. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be What the Fuck Wednesday. Oh, excuse me. Not What the Fuck was Hump Day. And so on and so forth. So hope you all have a great day. Here's the links. Copy, paste the links. I'm just going to put links, and there you go. I'll put them in the chat also. Everything from the day. Plus, the aggregator has great articles every day. I highly encourage you to do that, and check that out. Ace of Spades blog for Morning Report always has good stuff. But that's it. I got to go. See you. Have a great day. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.